Hello, ladies and gents. Do you want a good laugh? Hello, hello, hello. Shall we have a good laugh? This is an interview with Cathy Yan. Now, this is on the playlist, and it's on their sort of podcasting that they do. But they do excerpts of it, so they quote it. And boy, oh boy, is it hilarious. She's running more and more damage control for her career. The blame is being firmly placed for Birds of Prey all over on Warner Brothers, which, look, Warner Brothers are notorious for getting involved with a bunch of their projects. The difference, and this is what's really important here, the key difference between a lot of the other projects and Birds of Prey was we know how Birds of Prey was pitched, right? Birds of Prey was pitched basically as everything anti-female. It was misandry. It was just a sizzle reel. Again, you can quote it, even just Google Birds of Prey sizzle reel pitch. Cathy Yan has come out and admitted that her pitch for Birds of Prey was a sizzle reel of women power, man bad. So when that's the pitch, I really struggle to believe the fact that she's saying, oh, it's all Warner Brothers' fault. No, love. You pitched it as misandry, hate men, girl power. And yeah, Warner Brothers are to blame for greenlighting it. They're idiots. They should never have greenlit it in the first place. But you can't just now conveniently say it's Warner Brothers' fault. Yeah. Especially when you were so proud of it. You're like, yeah, it was a sizzle reel. Yeah. It's like, mate, do you not understand how garbage that sounds? How bad that sounds? It says hilarious. It's full-blown damage control. Let's take a look. Let's dive into it. This article's linked down below. Let's go. Cathy Yan talks about dead pigs finally coming to the US and the challenges on working on Birds of Prey. We're only interested in the Birds of Prey part because it's funny as hell. So, again, she's talking about her, feature film, blah, blah, blah. And then goes on. So she's basically juxtaposing between, oh, I love this project and oh, I hated this one. So she's probably never going to work with Warner Brothers again, which is again laughable. How do you ever expect to get a future where you keep slating your bosses? I never understand this. I get it if you weren't hoping to work again, but these people clearly want to work again. So I think to myself, why are you doing this? So here we go. The filmmaker also talks about the well-documented challenges she faced working on Birds of Prey, but it's also well documented that your pitch was a joke. So. Ugh. As has been reported on a variety of DC superhero films, Warner Brothers has taken a hands-on approach to the final cut of their blockbusters. So, which is normal actually, FYI, that is normal. That is actually normal. It's very rare that a director gets final cut. Just to throw it out there, just so we all know and we dispel some of the myths and rumours here. It's very rare. Not many directors get that, so I don't The playlist should know this, but they're running damage control and talking bollocks. So final cut, blah, blah, blah. So when asked about her experience of working on Birds of Prey, and specifically the post-production process with Warner Brothers, Yan definitely agreed there were compromises that had to be made. It was definitely challenging, said Yan. Dead Pigs was such a singular, pure version of myself, and I think when you're dealing with a budget like Birds of Prey and the sort of pressures of a studio, especially a studio that is undergoing a lot of change, inevitably you end up having to compromise and fight for stuff, and you win some and you lose a lot. It's just how it is. It's like, mate, what are you jumping on here? What bandwagon are you jumping on? You came out and was like, yeah, I'm so happy with it. Oh, it's because male did it. Men didn't go out and watch it and blah, blah, blah. No, women didn't go out and watch it. That's why it failed. We have the numbers of the genders that went out and watched it opening weekend. It was predominantly men. I would have loved to have more control over the edit, but that's just kind of how it is. I don't know if there's a Cathy Yan cut out there, but I think for any filmmaker, all of us are in it because we want to express ourselves as wholly as possible, and to match what you ultimately see on screen with what's in your head. Or what's in our head, she says. But again, when the pitch was a sizzle reel of misandry, I don't want to see that. It was pretty close to that anyway. I don't want to see that garbage. That's shite. So she went on to then talk about David Ayer's experience on Suicide Squad. So she's just like, because she apparently expressed sympathy, and she did. Like, she did a tweet like, oh, yeah, I know how this feels. Ayer has been championing the idea of recutting Suicide Squad to better fit his vision after Warner Brothers reportedly interfered quite a bit and drastically changed the film in the editing room. I mean, yeah, they did, absolutely. But David Ayer's like, he's fine. Like, he's not an epic director, So an Ayer cut isn't going to really change that. Like, it's not. The Ayer cut is not going to drastically change the Suicide Squad from garbage to not garbage. It was garbage for many reasons. This is what people think. Like, they think that suddenly these cuts are going to change the film. It's not. BVS Extended Edition didn't change anything. It did. But it didn't suddenly make it absolutely amazing and epic and make a whole lot of sense. Sometimes films are better with the fat trimmed off. Sometimes they do need the fat on there because they explain stuff. Suicide Squad's not one of them. I do know that there was a very different tone of the movie that Ayer had planned for Suicide Squad that never really made it. And so, if he gets to show his cut or get to take another stab at it, then that's an insanely wonderful opportunity. Asked whether her Birds of Prey experience has changed her mind about big budget blockbusters moving forward, such as doing additional DC superhero films, Yan is unsure. Well, yeah, because you're slating the company that you worked for. Yes and no, she said about the experience on Birds of Prey, influencing any of her future decisions. I never did Birds of Prey in the first place so that I could say I did a big movie or blockbuster movie. I actually very much did it because I thought the script was interesting, and the fact that I got the chance to depict women, especially female superheroes, in a way that we haven't really seen before. Like, neither perfect nor weak, So like an average person then. I think it's typically either or, really. Alright. I enjoyed that challenge of being able to subvert the genre a little bit. You didn't subvert anything. You made a bad movie and you're running Damage Control. Shut up. I would not discount ever doing it again. I try not to think of whether I would do this type of movie or that type of movie again, or whether I'd work with this studio or that. But more like, is this story compelling? And I'm also a writer-director, so in that case, my big lesson is that I want to continue to do that and have a little bit more control over the story I'm telling. And Yan is still attached to Sour Heart over at A24, but there has yet to be any news of any sort of Birds of Prey spin-offs or a sequel in development. It's not going to happen. But can you see the damage control here? Remember, this is a person that pitched the movie with a sizzle reel of just man-hating. It was pitched as a sizzle reel of misogyny, I believe was what they said. It's a joke. Like, your movie's a joke at that point, if that's how you pitch the movie. You don't pitch a story, you don't pitch any actual ideas, it's just a bunch of videos of how much you hate men because you think that they're awful and they hate you, or whatever it is that you think inside your tiny little brain. It's awful, it's garbage. So the damage control just keeps going on with these things. And FYI, like, I fully appreciate that Warner Brothers suck. Like, they suck donkey dong, they're terrible. Some of the stuff that they do with their directors is awful. But sitting here and saying that she didn't get final edit and things like that, right? So when asked about her experience working on blah blah blah, the post-production process definitely agrees compromises had to be made, right? Oh, approach to the final cut of their blockbusters. What? Basically, no director gets final say on the cut. Like, seriously, it's really, really rare. It's really rare. You have to fight for that stuff. You have to be a really big name for those things to be included in your contract. And is that good or is that bad? Either or, really. Some directors are great. Some directors are garbage. I would imagine Ridley Scott has final say in his contracts, and some of the films he puts out are terrible. So, like, even if you are a big name, it still doesn't mean you're going to produce a great film. So just remember that when people run these kind of stories, and the playlist really should know better, because running this story saying, oh, well, you know, like, no, mate. No. Basically, no director has final cut. Very rare. Very rare. Because the studios want to protect their investment. They don't want a director to walk in and go, no, this was my movie. Boom. I get final cut. It's in the contract. Obviously. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Thanks so much. Take care.